Hello there, this is DBT and this is Art of Rooms. And alright, let's continue playing some more Asphalt Legends. And today, we're going to have a deep look into the 20th anniversary Spotlight event because, oh boy, it is a big one, lots of questions, lots of reward, but realistically, what can you get from it? Well, that's what we're gonna try to find out today. But before I jump into it, if you enjoy my content, you know what to do. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because when you're doing these things, you tell YouTube that this is worth recommending to more people, and in that way the channel can continue to be found and I can continue making this content for you. So, if you want some more breakdowns of events and all of this type of content, go ahead, like and subscribe. But alright, Spotlight event, let's talk about it. Now, just yesterday, I made a video talking about the general idea of the entire update with the events and things that happen and whatnot, but today's is specifically only about this thing because, well, it is a Spotlight event, it is a cool one, but it also has some caveats, and that is where it's going to be important to talk about it today. Now, the very first thing that I want to talk about is how this event, unlike regular special events, is not based, or the progression is not based on conditions. Normally in regular events, if you do this, it counts 1 into your conditions down here, right? And if you do this one another 5 times, that's going to be 6 conditions done. Over here is not like that. Instead, it counts the amount of boxes, I'm just going to call them boxes, that you can collect in the race. So, let me show you one race and what the boxes are and whatnot. Notice that right now I have a score of 33. Let's just keep that in mind. Now, what I'm going to do in this race is actually collect some boxes, but not go over 33. The idea is to show how, no matter how many times you do this race, you're not going to, add to your score unless you actually beat the score that is already there. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick some of these because, yep, that is kind of the whole objective. But like I said, my main score was, 33? So yeah, let me just fast forward to the end of this race. Well, that wasn't a very fast, or rather a very quick fast forward. There we go. 17 boxes I got over here, right? So one would expect like, hey, you have 33 already, plus the 17 that you just got. Does that mean that you go up to 50? No, that's not the case at all. If we see, well, let me claim my rewards, whatnot. But you can see that my score is still 33. So in order to continue unlocking more stages, for example, this stage that requires 50, I cannot do it until I actually get 50 in total. Now, I can continue doing this stage over and over, but this is not going to change unless I actually collect more than 33 in this stage. Obviously, that's going to be for that particular stage. Once you get to the second stage, you can collect some more, so on and so forth. So this is basically just to explain how this time it doesn't matter, conditions are not a thing, instead is how many boxes you are able to collect collectively throughout each one of the stages, so long as you continue to beat the score in each one of these stages. So with that out of the way, let's talk about actually the entirety of the event because, oh boy, there's a bunch of stages and there's not too many. There's only 10 real stages and the competition stage at 11 or the 11th stage where you can get some regular stuff. You know, you've seen this before, so I don't think I need to go too deep into this. But as far as the 10 stages, the problem is that if we have a look at each one of these stages, it gets really confusing because there's a lot of these things that you can get, right? It gets a little bit confusing and, well, you know, I don't like going stage by stage like this. Instead, spreadsheet! Of course, I would do a spreadsheet. Now, this is going to be a ridiculously long spreadsheet. It's a ton of information. It took me a really long time to put this all over here, set it up proper, and you'll see some changes that I did to this thing so it's a little bit easier to fill up, but still. So over here, you can see the entirety of the event, except for the stage 11, but you can see everything already put in here. So you can see which stage we're talking about, how many boxes are required in order to unlock it. Okay, I made it a little bit bigger, so hopefully you can see it better. But yeah, as I was saying, the stage that you're at, how many boxes are required? Obviously, this one is already unlocked because, well, it's the very first stage. Which cars are going to be featured in this particular one? In this case, the Lancer and the Alfa Romeo Giulia. How many stars are gonna give you which rewards? Now you can see already that this, if you have seen other of my spreadsheets before, you can see that this is a little bit different, but I will get to explain to it. But anyway, so if you have it at 1 star, for example, over here, it says 1 star FT standing for free try. So that means that, you know, you have a free try of this car at 1 star. Now, obviously you already own this car because it's the base car in the game. You cannot possibly not own this car, but you get the idea. So for example, over here, if you have it at 1 star, you can get 10 additional blueprints for the Lancer. If you have it at 2 stars, you can get some racing tokens, you can get some credits, and that's about it. If you have it at 3 stars, you can get the racing tokens, regular tokens. Racing tokens, by the way, is the currency that you get to spend in the shop over here, so let's just keep that in mind. And you can also get some blueprints and some epics for the Giulia. Now, if you do it with the Giulia, at 2 stars you can get this, at 3 stars you can get that, so on and so forth, right? Now, actually it's kind of cool, or maybe I should say just convenient, that I took a day to make this entire spreadsheet because now Gameloft did make a change where they added some keys for some cars into their rewards. For example, the case of the Giulia, if you happen to have the car at 5 stars, then you can get also the key for the car. Now remember, these are gonna be free tries, but you know, it's a little bit complicated with how I write it down. All of these cars in this entire event are gonna be free tries, but if you don't own the car, it's only a free try at 1 star. But if you have the car, even if you don't own it, at 3 stars, then you can do this as a free try all the way up here. And that's why you can do the free try even at 5 stars. And if you do, you can get the key for the car. I hope that's a little bit clear. So then over here, and the last part, you can see that it says either, because this one will work with either one of these cars that you do the race. It's a 1-star free try with either one, and then you can get an additional 15 racing tokens packs. Again, this is for the currency that you can use to spend in the shop for this event. Now, these packs are the ones that can contain either 25, 50, or 70. No, it's 25, 50, or 100 racing tokens. So it's random, but still, you can get this amount of packs that will contain the coin. Now, for example, if we go to stage 2, you need 20 boxes that you have collected in the previous stages. And then that you have access to this one in particular. Now, it's gonna be with the Dodge Viper, again, free tries, and depending on the amount of stars is what you can get. Notably over here, and this is gonna be similar, it's basically the same shape for all of them, just different stars. But for example, with the Dodge Viper, you can get additional blueprints for the Dodge Viper, and you can get also later on, well, obviously, some racing tokens, some regular credits, some regular tokens. And at 4 stars, you can get blueprints for the McLaren GT. Obviously, I wrote this down a little bit weird, so it fits. But it's McLaren GT, 10 blueprints, 2 epics for the McLaren GT, and some epics for the Viper. When you're using the McLaren GT, you can get all of this stuff. And by the way, I didn't mention, over here you can see these particular 2 columns are related specifically to the main car of the event, the Chiron. So you can see over here with the Giulia, you could get 6 blueprints, and at some point you may be able to get some epics much later in the event. But I think you get the idea, right? That's basically how this entire thing is gonna work. Again, as I was saying, notably, Gameloft did add some keys into this event. For example, the McLaren Solos, if you have it at max stars, you're gonna be able to get its key. Same thing for the Bugatti 110 and another one for the Ferrari Daytona. All of this, if you have them at max stars, you can get the keys. Now, don't get too excited, because if you don't have this car, or you only have it at 1 or 2 stars or whatever, and you're thinking, oh, throughout this event I'm gonna max star it up and get the key, that is very unlikely. We're gonna talk about the shop itself a little bit later. But for now, I just wanted to show you this overview of the rewards. Now, at the very bottom of this, you're gonna be able to find the grand totals of the stages of this event. So for example, in total, you can get 51,650 racing tokens, assuming that you have all of the cars at max stars or at the required amount of stars in order to get everything, which is going to be very difficult because some of these cars are very rare, like the Deus Vayan. But still, this is the maximum of racing tokens you can get. In total, you can get 250 racing token packs, the ones that contain racing tokens in a random fashion, a total of 7.1 million credits, about 4,300 tokens, 70 blueprints for the Bugatti Chiron, and 5 epics for the Bugatti Chiron as well. So that is what you can get in all of these stages. However, there's also the milestone rewards that you can get. Now, these are, like I said, not based on conditions, but again, based on the boxes. That's why I write it down over here. So if you collect a total of 50 boxes throughout this event, you can get miscellaneous reward, 100 with 100 another miscellaneous rewards, at 200 Chiron. You can see over here, right? Some Chiron blueprints, some credits, Chiron blueprints, tokens, blueprint, and an epic for the Chiron. That is basically what you can get in the milestones that, again, is not based on condition, but on boxes. And finally, here are the grand total, the maximum rewards that you can get in this event. That's basically the sum of everything that you can get in the event itself. Again, I'm not talking about the shop at all, just specifically the stuff that you can get through the special event, let's call it. Now, you can see over here, I sorted it out this way. The car how many blueprints, how many epics, and if you can get the key. So the Lancer, you can get some blueprints. The Julia, you can get blueprints, the epics, some epics, and the key. Now you will notice that some of these have N and some have nothing. The one that have nothing over here for keys because it's a card that doesn't require a key. The ones that have N stands for no, you cannot get the key that this card does require. So for example, the Hurricane Super Trofeo Evo, it's a card that requires a key in order to unlock it, but you cannot acquire the key in this event. That's why I wrote it that way. Same thing for the electric car, the Volkswagen electric car. Yeah, you can get some blueprint and epics, but you don't get the key. Viper, McLaren GTR, the Daytona, you can get blueprints, epic, and you can get the key. Husaria, Asterion, Solus, another one that you can get the key in this event. Now over here you can see the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo. Now you will notice that for key I wrote the word pass, and that is because as I've explained in yesterday's video, but I suppose it's a good thing to show over here as well. In the pass in the game, you are able to get this key for free so long as you complete all of the missions of the pass. So you can see over here, here's the key on the free lane. Now, how difficult is this gonna be? As I talked yesterday, there's some conditions to do over here. Now, the real question is, how difficult are these conditions gonna be in general? Now, so far they don't seem absolutely unreasonable. There's a lot of drive a bunch this car in the event and whatnot. There's gonna be mostly a repetition of doing the same thing over and over until you complete them. But who knows, maybe that we're gonna find some really difficult ones or straight up impossible to do, so I don't know. But in theory, you should be able to get the key for the 48 Challenge Evo for free. And moving a little bit further, let's forget about these three cars. We go to the Jag, the XJR9, and over here you notice that I also wrote it as pass, this time in red, because this one, it is in the pass. However, that one is not free. That is only if you buy the actual pass for about $10, then you can get the key for the Jag. But otherwise, you cannot get it in a free fashion at all. And from there onwards, when it comes to the Tommaso, again, a card that requires a key, but you cannot get it over here. There's a Centenario, 110, you can get the key as mentioned in the regular stages, so long as you have the card max. We have the Deus Vayan, which requires a key, but you cannot get it over here. And finally, the Chiron, you can get, well, over here I added the blueprints and the epics that you can get over here, so that's why it says 80 and 6, and there you go. And a grand total of racing tokens as 51,650, just, you know, considering everything that you can get. So this is all that you can get in the event. Now you will notice that over here I did put this completely separate because I wanted to just show you how many racing tokens you can also get in the daily rewards. So for this one in particular, you notice that it says daily racing tokens, 250 that you can get for 28 days for a total of 7,000. What am I talking about? That is the ones that you can claim in the shop directly over here. Now right now, because I already claimed that it shows for this, but normally this one, or always really, this will always, the first one, be free. And considering that this is going to refresh every 24 hours naturally, you can claim 250 for 28 days for free, and that is what gives you the 7,000 that I mentioned down here. Now over here it says racing tokens for credits, and here's the thing though. Also in the game, sometimes you can get down here, as you see it's already claimed, you can claim some additional tokens, racing tokens specifically. I hate that they're called tokens, but anyway. The racing tokens you can get also for credits for a price of 150,000. You can get 600 of those. But that is not always the case. Sometimes instead of being for credits, it's for tokens. So over here, I'm counting 14 days only. Let's assume that only half of the days you're gonna get this for credits rather than for regular tokens. So 600 times 14, it's another 8,400 racing tokens that you can get throughout this event, but these are specifically on the shop. That's why I put this completely separate and they're not added over here. This is a completely different thing. So yeah, let's keep that in mind. And there's another variable that I didn't mention over here when it comes to the racing token packs that you can get here, the ones that I said that they can contain 25, 50, or 100, is that obviously you're gonna get some amount of racing tokens from here, but it's completely random, so we don't get to know. However, I put over here a guesstimate of how much you could get. Assuming that in all of these packs you get the absolute minimum of the racing tokens, meaning that each one of the packs is only gonna give you 25, then you're gonna get 375 over here for these 15 packs. Or assuming that you get an average of 75 racing tokens per pack, this is how much you can get. So at the very bottom, you can also see the sum of how much it could be. So assuming that in all of the 250 packs you get the minimum, you get 6,250, or assuming that in the 250 you get an average of, like I said, 75, you get a total of 18,750 racing tokens. But like I said, this is completely random. We don't really know exactly how much it's going to be because, again, RNG. So don't take this for granted. Just keep in mind that there's some additional racing tokens that you can get from those. So yeah, there you go. Just wanted to mention that real quick. Now, with all of that out of the way, let me show you how you can actually use this as a calculator to see how much progress you're going to be able to make over here. Now, like I said, if you've seen other of my spreadsheets, this is a little bit different because over here, again, it's so many cells over here that you would need to fill up. So instead I just changed it where you just need to tell me how many stars do you have the cars at. So over here in the orange cells, this is where you're going to be able to enter how many stars you have it at. So for example, if you enter that you only have the Mitsubishi Lancer at 1 star, it's going to mark this green, and this is the rewards that you're going to be able to get. Now, if you actually have it at 2 stars, you enter it here in the orange. You don't need to fill this, the white ones. Don't worry about those. Nothing happens you fill this, so just don't. But yeah, you enter over here how many stars you have it at, and you can see that at 2 stars it already marked these 2. And over here at the top it starts counting, starts adding up the rewards that you get depending on which cars you get and at how many stars. So if I have this car at 3 stars, then you can see it already added all of this up. All of this mark green is going to start adding up. Now, this over here on the other rewards, these are not going to add up anywhere because it would be really difficult to start making sense of this. But at the very least, when it comes to these specific numbers, they start adding up. So there you go. So let's say that you also have the Alfa Romeo Giulia and you actually have it at 3 stars. Well, you enter 3 stars over here and there you go. It marks up this way. Now, real quick, this one always mark it as whatever, 1 or 2, whatever. The point is that because all of these cars are going to be free tries, you can always do this one because all it needs is a 1-star free try. So this one, you'll notice that this either it's marked in every single one of the stages. Always put the 1 because you're going to be able to do that. So yeah, just trying to clear that up. So for example, the Dodge Viper, same situation. Let's say that one I do have it at 4 stars, so I enter 4. Beautiful. McLaren GT, I have it at 4 stars. I enter that. And because it's a free try, I just enter that I can do it with 1, whatever, it's fine. So yeah, there you go. And you can see it starts adding up over here, all the stuff that you can get. So next one, the Lamborghini Asterion. Oh, I have that one at 4 stars. I have the Solus at only 2 stars. Actually, I don't have the Solus at all. I only have it at 1 star. If I mark it over here, you see nothing adds up because there's no condition that requires the Solus at 1 star. But you still need to enter this one as 1 because it's a free try. So there you go. Free try of either car. So that's, I know it's a little bit confusing, but it's just the way that it's set up in the special event, that this one, the very first one, can be done with either car. So yeah, that's why it's like that. Then we have the Aston Martin Vulcan, so on and so forth, right? I think you understand how you feel this entire thing. And that, again, is going to mark in green the ones that are doable or that you are being able to acquire. So let's say in the Tribute, so I have it at 5 stars. Well, this is what I can get from it. Let's just jump ahead a little bit. This one you need to mark it anyway. This probably you need to do some as well. The Centenario, oh yeah, I have it at 5 star. Great. The 110, oh, I got it only to 4 stars. Oh no, I cannot get the key, but if you had it at 5 stars, you would be able to get, not yet the key, only at 6 stars you get the key. I think you get the idea, right? So I hope this is clear how you can fill this entire thing in order to figure out just how many rewards you're gonna be able to get. Now, once you enter this, if someone already filled it up, all you gotta do is select from here all the way down to here, just delete, and that clears up the entire thing, and you can proceed to start filling it up again. Like I said, the white cells, you don't need to do anything on it doesn't matter if you write something over there, nothing changes. This is nothing. I just left them available to be edited so that you can just select everything at once and delete. Now, real quick, over here, you can only enter values from 1 to 6. Now, obviously, the Mitsubishi Lancer doesn't have 6 stars, but it doesn't matter if you put the 6, it's fine. At the end of the day, it's only going to count the 3 stars. But you cannot put, for example, a 7, it won't let you. You cannot put an ASD because it won't let you. It has to mandatorily be only a number from 1 to 6. You can either enter it directly by writing it down, or you can just select from the drop down either one of or any of the options that it gives you over there. So yeah, I hope that's a little bit clear on how you fill this thing up. Like I said, you can fill this up, and once you open it, if it's already filled up, again, just select it starting from here all the way down to here, delete everything, and just proceed. And don't forget to mark this as one big or whatever, because again, everything is a free try. So I hope all of that is clear, and as usual, this spreadsheet is going to be linked in the description. It's going to be the first link, and also in the pinned comment if you want to use it. Once again, if you find this useful, like the video, go ahead. I put a lot of time into setting this whole thing up, so the very least thing you can do is at least give me the like. Come on. Now, there's one last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this entire event, but this is not necessarily about the progress that you make, but rather on the shop. Because as I explained today, the shop has changed, and now it gives you a lot of options of what you can purchase. Now, as I mentioned, but again, I will go over it again, you get over here the free claim, completely free, and once you claim it, then you get the offer to get some of these racing tokens for trade coins. Don't do it, it's not worth it. Then you get over here the option to buy for credits, or sometimes it's for regular tokens, depending on what luck you had, but that's that. Then from there onwards, over here, this particular slot or state, no, I guess it's a slot. Over here, it's always going to be for the Bugatti Chiron. It can contain 2 or more blueprints. I've seen 2 and 4. I think there might be 5 as well. And obviously it comes for a certain price, it says over here. And from there onwards, I believe all of these other slots over here are gonna be random. The cars are gonna be changing. It's not gonna be always the same car, so keep that in mind. And then finally, these 3 over here are gonna be specifically for epic import parts. So that is the entire setup or the layout of the shop. But what I wanted to talk about is the actual cost of the blueprints and epics. Spreadsheet again! I had to do it. All right, so thanks to the help of some very helpful fellows in my Discord server, the House of Room, link is in the description. I was able to fill this entire thing up with almost the entire thing with the prices of the blueprints and the epics. By the way, shout outs to Street Racer, Varantex, Lego, Dan, Lemon Lace, and Lolita in my Discord server that helped me out to fill this up. So there we go. All right, so over here you can see the class of the car, the name of the car, how many blueprints we're selling and for which price, and the epic price as well in racing tokens. Now, for example, and I'll explain the colors in a second, but for now, let me get rid of this message. I hate that message so much. Over here we can see, for example, the Mitsubishi Lancer. I don't think that it's ever offered. I haven't seen offers for the Lancer, so that's why it's empty. But for the Alfa Romeo Giulia, you can buy 2 blueprints for the price of 350. Now, if you were to find 4 blueprints for the Giulia, it would be literally twice as much. It would be 700. So this is basically with the minimum amount of blueprints that I could find, and the price remains consistent depending on the amount of blueprints that you get. And then again, the price for the epic. By the way, this is in the same spreadsheet, so you're gonna be able to find it by just scrolling all the way to the right, but still wanted to show it over here. There we go. I centered it a little bit more so that it shows better in this video. But anyway, as I was saying, over here it shows, again, the class, the car, how many blueprints, the price of blueprints, and the price of epics. Now, I wanted to chart this out because, holy smokes, the prices are all over the place. Have a look at how much is it gonna cost me to buy 2 blueprints for the Huracan Super Trofeo Evo. 300 racing tokens. For the same 2 for the Volkswagen electric car, it's over twice as much. And that was not a mistake. 2 blueprints, 750 racing tokens. That is so incredibly expensive. Now, for example, when you think of the Dodge Viper, which is a very common car for 200, it's a common one, and actually it's 200 for 5 blueprints, so that's super cheap, right? But it's a common car, but still, it gets you get the idea. And then you think of, well, yeah, McLaren GT, it's a better car in Class C, so it makes sense that for 2 blueprints, it's more expensive. Yeah, it's a better car. But when you think about something, again, like the Volkswagen electric car costing 750, whilst the blueprints for the Ferrari 48 Challenge Jeep only cost 450, that's when you go like, oh boy, that's very special, isn't it? The prices are all over the place. And I wanted to talk about this, and that's why I put this thing in colors. What, in my personal opinion, this is just a suggestion, you don't have to listen to me, but this is what I think the ones that are worth buying and the ones that are not so much. So, Mitsubishi Lancer, again, it doesn't show, but even if you saw it in the shop, just don't buy it. This car is so common, you're gonna get it to 3 stars in no time, so don't worry about it. The Alfa Romeo Giulia, I put it in orange or yellowy because this is a car that I think it could be worth buying. Could be. because the blueprints are not expensive, and even though it's a key car, you can get the key in the event itself. That's why I put these two tables together, so you could see the cars that require a key and whether or not you can get the key. So like I was saying, the Giulia, it's a car where you can get the key and the blueprints are not too expensive. Now, to be fair, like I said earlier in this video, you're not gonna constantly be getting blueprints for this Alfa Romeo. So it's not guaranteed you're gonna be able to take it to the 5th star to get the key. So keep that in mind. That's why I put it in orange. It could be worth it, but it's not necessarily something that I would recommend. So keep that in mind. Now, for example, if we go into the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo, it is a key car, and I marked it as, even though the blueprints are even cheaper than for the Alfa Romeo, you can see 300 versus 350, I marked this as red because you cannot get the key for this thing anywhere in this event. So it really is not worth buying. Now, obviously, this is gonna be different. If you're the player that already owns the Super Trofeo, but you have it at low stars, then of course it's worth buying the blueprints for you, but that is your very specific case. I'm considering it in the big scheme of, you know, someone who doesn't have any of these cars. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Volkswagen electric car, absolutely no. Super ridiculously expensive, and you can't even get the key, so no thank you. Dodge Viper ACR, I marked it as red because this is a car that is very, very, very common. Don't spend your racing tokens, which again are limited. That I didn't mention. These racing tokens are limited. You cannot continue grinding. Once you claim all of them, you're done. There's no more that you can continue grinding to get more and more. No. So it's a limited resource. Don't just spend it crazily. So Dodge Viper, even though they're cheap, I would say don't buy them. For the McLaren GT, this one I marked it as green because they're not very expensive at 400 for 2 blueprints, and this is not a key car. So long as you get this car to enough blueprints, you can unlock it, and maybe you can continue starting it up. So these, I believe, are worth buying. Not the epics, by the way. I haven't really talked about the epics. I don't think the epics are worth buying because, again, very limited resources. Let's not forget that you're going to get a total of 51,000 of the currency, and you're going to spend 4,500 or 3,500 in buying these epics. I really don't think this is worth, unless you're only aiming for the epics. The Daytona, you can get the key in the event for sure if you get it to max stars, but again, super expensive. I don't think this is worth to buy, because you're gonna end up spending a tremendous amount of your currency just to try to get this car to max stars, and this car is not even guaranteed that you're gonna be constantly getting the blueprints for it. So you see why this is dangerous. Remember that the only car that is guaranteed is the Chiron. This is the only car that continues to get the blueprints over and over and over, but the rest aren't. So super expensive, you need to max it, and only then you can get the key. It's very risky. I don't recommend it at all. For the Arena Husaria, I marked it as orange because they're not expensive, and even though this is a relatively common car, it's not super common, but if you need blueprints for this thing, I think this is worth given the low price for the blueprints, and it's a really good Class C car, so why not? When it comes to the Asterion, but by the way, I didn't mark it as green because, again, it's a car that you can still get in regular progression of the game, so it's not like, oh, it's exclusive to this event, you need to get it right here. No, that's why I marked it in orange. In orange, also the Asterion, another very common car, but the blueprints are very, very, very cheap. It's a very mid-low Class V car, so nothing absolutely amazing, but these epics, for anybody, as they say, if you know, you know, these epics are insanely rare in the game, are absolutely ridiculously rare for free. So this is the only reason why I marked this one orange. Get the epics for the Asterion if you care at all about golding this car, because man, these epics don't show anywhere except for money. So yeah, maybe this is your opportunity to gold it. It's mostly a trophy rather than anything else. It's not a particularly useful car, but still. That's why I marked it in orange. For the McLaren Solus GT, this is another one that requires a key, but I marked it as orange because the blueprints are very cheap, much cheaper than the Daytona. And in general, the 40-day challenge, the Solus GT, it's a Class B car, much more useful than a Class C Daytona SP3. And the blueprints are much cheaper. I would say this is worth going for, kind of. Again, keeping in mind that it's a car that doesn't have the drops guaranteed. So it's not guaranteed you're going to be constantly getting blueprints for that thing. That's why I marked it in orange. Now, for the 40-day challenge Shivo, now this one I marked as green because even though it requires a key, as I mentioned earlier, you can get it for free in the pass so long as you complete the pass. So this is a card that you're gonna get guaranteed. So why not get as many blueprints as you can in order to star it up? This one, that's why I marked it as a straight up green. Go for it. Commit to completing the pass and get your card because it's a pretty good one. For the 𝐒𝐲𝐻𝐼 R, I marked this one as green because A, it's very expensive to buy these 2 blueprints for 850, and B, this is a card that, while it doesn't require a key, you can actually get blueprints for this card in multiplayer by, getting to the milestones and, getting the packs in multiplayer. So over time, this is a card that you're gonna be able to star up, unlock, max out in multiplayer. So don't worry too much about it, and it's too expensive. For the Aston Martin Vulcan, super cheap, but it's a super common car. Don't do it. This is a car that you're gonna max out throughout regular progression in the game. It's not worth to spend your currency here. For the Ferrari F8 Tributo, this is a Class A car, and I marked this one as green because it's not exceedingly expensive, and even though these cars you can also technically get in the Legend store over time and whatnot, this is a car that it's rare enough, and it's a very good car anyway, and again, these blueprints are not particularly expensive. Now, if you claim all of the codes, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, if you claim all of the codes that are gonna be made available throughout this entire event and the season and whatnot, Gameloft said that you're gonna be able to unlock this car anyway. So then, why should you buy the blueprints? Because you don't want it at 1 star. Because it's a very useful car. Get it to 2, get it to 3, 4 stars. I don't know. Again, they're not super expensive, and it's a car you're gonna get anyway if you commit to it. I would say go for it. For the Jag XJR9, absolutely depends. Again, this one, if you are a premium user and you went for the pass, then absolutely go for it, 100%. If you don't own the pass and you're not gonna get this car, I still left it in orange because they're relatively cheap and it's a very good car. And who knows, maybe in the future, you're gonna have an opportunity to get the key. And like I said, it's a very weird, very good car. I left it in orange. I think it's worth to spend a little bit from time to time. Otherwise, I would say it's almost hitting red. It's almost not recommended, but it's a very strange case. For the Tomato P72, it's a key car. You don't get the key in this event. They're super expensive. Just don't do it at all, period. Lamborghini Centenario, Class S car, super basic, super cheap. But again, it's a car that you're gonna get by regular progression in the game. Don't waste your currency in this one. Not worth it. Bugatti 110, I marked it in orange because this is another one of the cars that you can actually get the key in the event. With the same idea as the previous one, you need to max the car, get it to max stars. So, you may want to buy blueprints if you have this car. If you have, I don't know, at 4 stars, 5 stars, and you're trying to get it to the 6th star, and only then you can get the key, sure, go for it. But other than that, if you don't have a single blueprint for this car, I would say just don't go for it at all, because you're not gonna be able to max it out throughout this event. So, there you go. Deus Vayan, another key card that you don't get the key at all, not worth it, they're expensive, and yeah, not worth it. Don't go for it at all. By the way, this one I don't have the price of the Epic because I could never find the Epic in the shop. If I eventually find how much it costs, I will put it up here. And finally, for the Bugatti Chiron, I marked this one as orange because it's a bit of a peculiar situation. It is the main car of this entire event, and you're gonna be able to get a lot of blueprints for this car throughout this event. Considering that there's a natural refresh every 24 hours, that means that every single day you could, if you decide to spend 1,000 of your currency in this, you can get 2 blueprints per day times 24. That's 56 blueprints that you can get throughout this event. That's a bunch of blueprints for a car that is actually pretty good. Don't buy the epics though. 8,000 is insanely expensive, and you're gonna be able to eventually get these epics in the shop, in the regular shop, not this event, but in the regular Legend store. So yeah, don't buy the epics. It's not worth at all. If anything, focus maybe on the blueprints, but not the epics. Insanely expensive. So yeah, I know that this video is insanely long, but again, I wanted to go throughout this entire thing again. It was a ton of information that I had to digest in order to make this entire thing, so I hope you find this useful. Again, hit the like button or subscribe if you did find this useful, because again, it took a while, but I did want to do this because again, it's so much information in this entire event. And by the way, I'm gonna leave everything open over here so you can see it in this spreadsheet, which again is linked in the description and in the pinned comment. It's so much information that if you don't know what you're looking at, you're gonna be confused by the event itself. Like, wow, there's so many moving parts, I have no idea what is what. hopefully this calculator is gonna help you a little bit to see in a very visual way. You can see all of the rewards that you can get and my suggestion as to what cars you should be focusing on. Obviously, like I said, this is gonna be very depending on your own progress, how much progress you've made in the game and all of that. So yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, but hopefully this helped you. Again, like, subscribe, it helps the channel, and I hope that I helped you a little bit. So if you think I did, I think I deserve that like and that subscribe. Come on, do it. All right, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.